I actually hated coding at university. I really didn't enjoy it. Just over 10 years ago, I got into open source, got into freelancing, and my life world changed, and I wouldn't change that for the world. Like it was amazing. Best decision I ever made was to go open source and to go freelancing. It hasn't been, easy, but it has been amazing. It allowed me to make a lot more decisions myself. I became a GitHub star last year and won GitHub Star of the Year. And it's just been awesome. It's been an amazing journey. And I really want everyone watching to have a similar exciting journey. I really believe a community is almost like a family. That's one thing I really want to do different with my community. I really want it to be inclusive. I really believe open source is not just about coding, and it is more about communication, collaboration, and then the coding is kind of secondary because it's not just a team of coders. You have testers, business analysts, product owners. There's so many skills that are needed, and they're all part of the team, and they're all welcome to join our community. And that's one thing that I'm really passionate about, is making sure everyone's inclusive. So one of my pet peeves is when people say, "Hey guys." So we have an Eddie bot that when people say guys, it comes up and says, maybe you should use folks or people. And some people don't like that, but there's something they've just got to learn, that tech is for everybody.
You were tweeting a lot about local hack day, right? So maybe there's a question regarding that. Tell in brief about what that is.
Local Hack Day, MLH, are running this event for a week-long event where you have daily or weekly challenges, and then if you're part of a guild, then the points that you get go to the entire guild as well. It's a bit like kind of a Harry Potter, houses in Harry Potter, I think that's what they call it. And so I think it's really important to join a guild. So my community asked me to create Eddie Hub Guild, and we've created that, and we're actually in second place of all the guilds now, which is awesome. So more people join, we'll get more points, and then you all get more swag. And we're really supportive and inclusive, and everyone's helping each other. I've seen the chat wake up this morning, like hundreds of messages. So even if you're new to tech or you're an expert in tech, definitely join. There'll be some challenge you can take part in. There'll be lots of challenges actually you can take part in and get points for yourself and our guild.
Who are GitHub stars basically?
At the moment, I think there are about 30 or so GitHub stars that have been selected out of 55 million people on GitHub, which I was so shocked to get nominated and then to also get selected. GitHub stars is about people doing lots of awesome things for the community. It's not about just promoting GitHub, which I think is really nice. Just add value to the community. That's really what open source is about. It's about adding value. It's not just about those code commits. And I think that's what people get hung up on, that I must do a code commit, I must do a pull request. And it's like, no, add value to the project, to the community. And that's how you'll stand out. And then to be selected as a GitHub star was an absolute shock. I've actually got a reaction video on my YouTube channel, I think in a short.
Come on. Yes! Oh, did they hear us?
So exactly what Martin said, Eddie's view.
A month later, still really shocked.
Should we learn good code first, or both doing code and Git?
I think you need to learn both together, but don't get hung up on Git too much. There really are only kind of a few commands that people need to learn that you'll use on a daily basis. Yes, there are a lot more. Learn those, understand those, and then you can move forward. Then you can learn the rest as you go along. With coding, put it open source, put it on GitHub. Even if it's just a practice project, say you're watching a tutorial on this channel, for example, and you're going along with the code, then try and make a project that's slightly different to what you're following along. Like if the tutorial is making a blog post, why don't you create a job post or something, just something slightly different with different fields. It'll make you think a bit more. When I'm hiring people for my projects or for my team or for my clients' teams and projects, I love to look at people's GitHub accounts, and I'm not looking for what everyone thinks. I'm not looking for the latest code to be the best code. I'm looking to see, did your code from a few months ago get improved? So that's why it's really good for people to show their journey. I'm also looking to see how people communicate with other people. When they raise an issue, when they raise a pull request, does it have all the relevant information in it? Or is it like trying to get blood out of a stone and trying to understand what's going on?
Your first project. So can you share a bit more about that?
I can't remember my first project, so I'll tell you about my first pull
it's been
request.
15 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I can tell you about my first pull request, which was just over a decade ago. We didn't have Git, we didn't have GitHub. It was really, really hard. It was really painful. My first pull request, actually, in fact, my second third and probably fifth and if not 10th pull request was just fixing a typo. And that's how we all get started. And I feel that I added value to that project. And if someone wants to fix a typo to my project, you are more than welcome to, because I think that adds value. And then I started adding more code coverage and I started fixing bugs. I really encourage everyone just to get involved in the conversation. Just review someone else's pull request. And if you think you don't know enough about the project or enough about the technology, you reviewing it actually adds so much value because you'll ask the questions that people might just forget to ask.
The importance of community and taking part in these communities for students.
It's so important. It's probably more important, I think, than trying to learn the latest library, latest framework. When companies are hiring, if they've seen your name before, that's why it's also really important to have the same username on Discord, on Twitter, on YouTube, on GitHub, everything else, same username and same name, and ideally the same profile picture. When someone sees it and recognizes you, like imagine if I received like 100 CVs and I see some of the names of these people that are asking great questions. And I think, oh, that person, I recognize the name. Where do I recognize them from? Oh, yes, they asked a great question on YouTube. Then I think, okay, let me look at their CV first. So you kind of go to the front of the line if people can recognize your name, even because you've asked a great question. So getting involved in the conversation in the community is really important. Just being on the sidelines and just kind of watching is good, but you'll get so much more by getting involved in the conversation. Yes, you might give your opinion and someone else might disagree with you, and that's fine. You know, it's good to have that challenge, which is why I really believe no one should ask for a mentor. Everyone you speak to is your mentor. Everyone here is my mentor. I could learn from all of you. Abhishek, hope I pronounced your name right. I'm a beginner in coding. I know front-end web development quite well. Should I make a project on GitHub or should I contribute to other projects as a beginner? I would suggest do both. Again, when I'm looking at people's GitHub projects to hire them for client projects and so forth, I want to see both sides, because by contributing to someone else's project, you're going to use and learn different skills. And by putting your projects open source, they might not get a lot of attention at the beginning, but when they do, when someone raises an issue on your project or raises a pull request on your project, even if it's your own like GitHub profile, like customizing your GitHub profile, you're automatically a project maintainer. And as soon as someone raises something on that repo, you're going to take an appreciation from the other side and you're going to learn different skills. So I think people should do both, a little bit of both, contributing and being a maintainer.
It's a good question. What is the take on time management for students?
Time management is hard, and I know I've fluctuated from both extremes, and I do that all the time. A bit like an agile team when you're kind of story pointing every sprint. Initially, you overestimate, you underestimate, you're like a sinusoidal wave, but you kind of get closer. So I would practice this a lot. I'm bad. I have some weeks where I kind of don't eat, don't sleep, but I'm just all go. Other weeks where I'm almost kind of burnt out and I'm just like, right, I'm not going to do very much. And I struggle just to do simple tasks. Make sure you get those breaks. And I think that's where being part of a community really helps. I find the community nudge me when I'm getting a bit, I suppose, lazy is probably the wrong word. Also, if I'm working too hard and so on, then also community does also nudge me and say, Eddie, maybe you need time to take a break, because we can see you just posting all the time and sharing lots of content and all the rest. So yeah, being part of a community is really important. One last tip on that: use GitHub projects and have a task board. I have it for everything, and I have like to do, in progress, blocked and done, and then you can just see how you're doing and point things up.
How students can get involved in the community and all the various ways in which students can contribute
In so many ways, and find something that you enjoy. So get involved in the conversation, see what's happening in the chat and see what value you can add. For example, one suggestion that I can make to all of you right now to get involved in the conversation, be it on Twitter, on Discord, on LinkedIn, whatever it is, take a screenshot of the live stream and share it on socials. But you're going to get a like from me and Kunal and other people. But if you want to get a retweet, if you want to appear in our network, so our contacts on LinkedIn, someone can see you, make sure to add value. Just like on GitHub, just like on socials, you need to add value. And what I mean is take a screenshot, but then add a one-liner of something that you learned. Love the discussion or love the question and answer about X and Y, and make sure that you kind of give these sound bites to people who maybe didn't join the live stream or who maybe want to go and watch it. And then we'll retweet it. We're like, oh, we love that sound bite. That was a really good question and answer. retweet or reshare on LinkedIn.
Can we talk a bit more about, like, we both are like content creators, right?
I feel that I'm moving away from content creation into more content documentation. I feel that I'm more documenting what I do. I only put out about 25% of the content that I document, not even create. Everyone is learning every day. Everyone here is here to learn, and you're all learning every day. I guarantee it. And it might be something small, it might be something big, that doesn't matter. It's really important for all of you to share that. Again, document rather than create. And if you want to create, then great, do it. But at least document. So if you learned something today, say you were struggling with an issue writing some JavaScript code and you found the solution, share that on Twitter. Or if you want to make it a bigger, more longer form content, share it, a blog post on it. Yeah, definitely get into that side and you'll learn about how, again, to communicate with people and how to respond and work with a team.
Can you share some common habits of a computer science lover, daily routine stuff?
Yes, checking notifications while having breakfast. Definitely do those sorts of things. I should make like a vlog of my day. I wake up to, 50 Twitter notifications recently. But actually GitHub notifications are the one that are becoming really like bigger and bigger. So I wake up to maybe 200-300 GitHub notifications every day. And it's not because I'm watching a project, I'm getting all these notifications that I'm not involved in. These are notifications of issues that I've raised or someone's tagged me an issue or they're on my projects that I'm maintaining. Yeah, which is great. It shows me that lots of people are doing lots of great work. But do you know what's even better? It's when I see the community has already reviewed the pull requests or already replied to the issue. It might not be maintainers on the project, but they're already adding value. So a lot of the time when I go review pull requests, they've already been reviewed by 2 or 3 people, that they've had that conversation back and forward. Where do you think when I'm going to go, when I'm looking to hire people, I'm going to go to these awesome people that are contributing to open source, because I know they can collaborate with other people around the world. I try and work out in the gym if I can, but I'm usually watching a YouTube video or watching someone. Like Netflix for me is kind of like getting smaller and smaller. It's more like YouTubers, writing code, live streaming videos. That's what I mostly do when I'm in the gym or having lunch. What are your plans for the future? GitHub for life, starting a company, anything else? One of the big things that I'm doing this year is actually I'm going to go digital nomad. I don't know how I'm going to get all my equipment around the world. So I'm looking at like container movement at the moment. So that's something to think about. I do want to go and work more remotely out of the UK for multiple reasons. One, to get some sun, but also one, I think I can then work less with my clients and spend more time with the community because my outgoings will be a lot less. So that's one of my ideas. I love GitHub. I love speaking to the engineers on part of the GitHub Slack channel. So speaking to engineers daily is awesome. And open source for the win. I would love to grow the community side more rather than just the full stack kind of DevOps coding side. I think that's what I've got. So yeah, watch this space and I'll keep you posted.
So what advice would you give to someone, let's say, who has never done freelancing and who is looking forward to getting started with it?
You need to have different kinds of projects. And what I mean by that is some of your freelancing clients will be tech savvy and some won't be. So some will just look for the shiny, polished, rounded corners, animations. So you need some of those projects. And you'll have some people who want a technical person to join their technical team or make it, they've got a deadline coming up in a couple of months, they need some help on it. Have a website with a portfolio, but make sure it's not just the shiny, polished ones, because a lot of the technical people that are hiring will see through that and they want to look how good, how efficient it is, how secure it is, how best practices do you follow and so forth. Before you even start approaching people, build some projects on the side for a friend, for a family member, just a small project, but something you can showcase. And then you can replace those with client projects in the future. And then as you grow, you can then start charging more clients. As people recommend you, then people will start coming towards you. So I say definitely at the beginning, under promise and over deliver. You want people to shout out and say that this person's amazing.
How to stand out?
I've seen people stand out because they've done some awesome design. I've seen people stand out because something really technically challenging that hadn't been done before. I think it's important to keep sharing your journey because no one's going to discover you on one blog post, one tweet, one GitHub repo. Just keep putting content out there, like your journey. If you learned something today, as I said before, just share it. You don't know what will help you stand out. And then when you do something that gets a bit more responses, engagement, and start doing more like that, you need to try different things. Just put stuff out there, add value, and then see what works for you. And it is all just practice. I guarantee everyone watching, you wrote a blog post a day, a tweet, did a video, a live stream. The first one is not going to be good. But I also guarantee you that your 10th one will be better than your first. I guarantee you your 100th one will be better than your 10th. And it is hard. It is not easy, but that's why you'll stand out.
So the question is how to build a good portfolio.
Look at other people's portfolios and see what you like. I'm rebuilding my portfolio at the moment, or my website at the moment. And I'm looking at other people's and taking different ideas from different people and seeing what works. Start off simple. I say this to everybody who's contributing to open source, and actually it's the same for your portfolio. One, make it open source so people can suggest improvements and contribute to it. Number two, if you haven't got a portfolio, just get a picture of you and put your name, and that's your portfolio to begin with, right? Just have that on your GitHub pages for free on your username.github.io. Do that straight away because that adds value. And maybe put your social links on there as well, right? Nothing else. Then every day, every few days, try and add a little bit more information, maybe a bio, maybe some other projects you worked on, maybe pick some of your open source projects and feature like 3 or 4 of them on your portfolio. Then as you build other projects, add more links and information about those. Just try and keep things ticking along little and often is really, really important.
How can I expand my open source project as in attract more and more contributors?
Make sure you're using the issues. Even if it's just you working on the project now, use the issues. Raise the pull request as well, even if it's yourself merging them in. See if you can get a friend to just give it a review and approve it. Even if they're not a maintainer on the project, they can still approve it. Make sure you're using branches correctly. So don't have like 101 branches, but maybe don't just have one branch. You do feature branching. Make sure your commits are using a commit style. There's conventional changelog, one of my favorites, where you prepend like feature, fix, chore, or whatever. Use tags and releases. Have a really good README. The amount of projects out there that don't have a README. And you can also go to the Insights tab on the top on your repo, and then down the left, go to Community. And it will list and give you some suggestions how to improve your project from an open source point of view. Have a contributing MD file, have a issue template, have a license. Some people won't contribute to a project if it doesn't have a license. And you can do that, or a code of conduct, another really important one. All of these in that page, you can just click a button, just add a license, add a code of conduct. And that's really important to do that. Use labels on your issues as well. Have a roadmap, maybe as a project on the project board so people can see what's coming up.
Having a link to your public channel or mailing list so where people can ask doubts if they're new to your project. How do I select the right project from literally millions of projects? I
guarantee you the first, second, and 10th project you select will not be the right project. You'll only get to the right project by just starting. Just get started, and you might be on Twitter, you might be in Discord channel, whatever it is. You'll see people sharing their project. When you see that list and you go find an issue, check a couple of things on the project. First of all, check the Insights tab and then the community link down the side. Check that they've got a code of conduct, that they've got, issue templates, those sorts of things. Go to the pull requests, click on the closed pull requests, and then have a look at the ones that didn't get merged. It's fine, it didn't get merged, it's not a problem. But go have a look at those and see if their maintainer said something like, thank you very much for this pull request, but were they friendly? Were they inclusive? Did they encourage, a contribution in the future? Because I've seen some pull requests get closed just with no answer. That's not very encouraging. It's just demotivating. And I've also seen some maintainers say, I don't want your silly contribution, blah, 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 go away. That's really awful to receive that. And those are projects you don't want to contribute to, and you don't want to spend your time doing. They are far and few between, but just do check because it is a bit disheartening.
So as a script kiddie, what mistakes should we not make?
I don't like the word script kiddie. I think even after 15 years, I'm still a script kiddie. Because we're always learning all the time, right? And if we look at our code a month ago, then I think my code a month ago is terrible. I think it's important to get things good enough and out there. And so don't try and make things perfect before you put it out there, and be it open source, be it for people to use or whatever it is, because a week later, a month later, 3 months later, you're going to see it's not perfect and you want to make improvements to it. So make sure it's good enough to get it out there, and don't get too stuck on it. And that goes again for the content creation. I remember my first video that I did like 3 years ago. I spent like a month editing it, and looking back now, it's terrible. And I really should have just spent like a few hours editing it and just put it out. So it's important. Same thing with coding, to just get it done, move on to the next feature. Don't get stuck on it. Make sure it's good enough.
Regarding being like a script kiddie, I mean, it's fine if you look at other people's code, but don't copy anything blindly.
Yes.
And one more point I want to make here, like if you're a beginner, please don't get stuck in the tutorial hell. You don't have to be an expert to contribute to open source. Like Eddie just mentioned, like open source is for anyone. And there are a few people who really, benefited from your video. Like I see a comment on the screen.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's great. So many Eddie fans, I was just saying.
This is amazing. I really need to get some shout outs. So Pooja, thank you so much. Amitesh, I love you all. Like, this is amazing. Just to add one more thing. So GitHub has GitHub sponsors where people can sponsor me for $1 a month if they want, or $10 a month. And some people message me and say, Eddie, I'd love to sponsor you, but I'm a student. And so I can't afford it. I'm like, that's fine. What I find more valuable and more energizing for me and more motivating for me is these positive comments that I really, really appreciate them. They do mean a lot. So that is more important to me than whatever it is, the $5 a month. So thank you so much, all of you.
Shout out to Arishman. This is really good line. The GitHub profile is more important than your BTech degree.
Yes.